This past weekend, I traveled from my home in Winnipeg to Calgary, Alberta to attend Dungeon Fest. I was going there with the express purpose of demoing and promoting my game Idols of Torment, but I was also going just to hang out and meet cool people. There would be a bunch of cool games being ran, and one of them was Flames of Orion, which I've been wanting to play. I didn't know if I'd actually have time to play in any of these games, but just in case, I figured, you know what? I'm gonna make and bring some mechs, so I'm ready if I can squeeze in a game or two. This was an attainable goal because to play a basic game, apparently you only need 4 mechs. And despite only having a couple hours to put something together and paint them up, I thought, yeah, this is something I can do. So I dug through my bits box and got to work. One thing of note about Flames is that the scale is in 6mm. So the mechs themselves are about the size of your average, 28 or 32mm scale model, but humans or pilots at that size would be really tiny. I didn't have many great actual mechy kind of parts to work with, but because of the scale, I was actually able to use just some regular 32mm kind of sci-fi Warhammer-y knockoff bits and put something together. My favorite part was the heads. These were actually the main body from some failed Robot Legion prints from one-page rules, and flipping them upside down gave them this nice round weird sort of space aesthetic that I really like, and it kind of offset the really square bodies that I was using. On a couple of them, I used some big flamethrowers from GW kits. For the rest, I just used whatever kind of arm pieces I could find that would finish the models off. Obviously, I could have made much better looking mechs if I had 3D printed out some parts, maybe some main generic mech frames or some bits or whatever, but I certainly didn't have time to do that. When I say I was in a hurry to make these, I meant it. I literally only had a couple hours to get them built, painted, and packed up and ready to go. Being locked into the limitations of the pieces that I had on hand is actually what makes kit bashing great and what I find so fun, because if I'm gonna go and say, hey, I can just 3D print some perfect parts, at that point, why don't I just 3D print some perfect mechs and be done with it? Digging through little pieces of plastic and failed prints and resin and whatnot and breaking pieces off and making them fit however they can, it's just a wonderful, joyous experience. I pretty quickly got these 4 bot boys to a point where I could throw them on some bases. I absolutely had no time to put any sort of material on the bases that would require drying time. So I decided to texture them using super glue and a mixture of sand, grout, and little stones. This is perfect because it dries right away and is ready for paint immediately. Also, this mixture that I have on hand has some larger pebbles in it that at this scale, with these mechs supposed to be at 6mm scale, looks really appropriate. It looks like they're walking over crushed rubble of a destroyed city or landscape. I don't know, it has the right look. And since that combo of glue and sand and stuff dries instantly, I could immediately bang them into the spray booth and quickly paint them.
Are you tired of struggling to build a website? I understand. Building a website can be hard, but it doesn't have to be. Introducing Squarespace, the all-in-one website building platform that makes it easy to create a professional-looking website without any coding skills. You can choose from a variety of stunning templates. Plus, their intuitive drag-and-drop interface makes it easy to customize your site without any technical expertise. And the best part? Squarespace takes care of all the technical details so you can focus on what matters most: your content, your business, and your brand. Don't let website building headaches hold you back any longer. Visit squarespace.com/blackmagiccraft to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain using code BlackMagicCraft. Squarespace. Make your website. Make it easy.
I just primed them with black primer and zenithal highlighted them with white, and this would have been good enough to get them on the table to play if I was really in a pinch, but I did have time to bang out some color since I was, had the airbrush. It doesn't take much time. I wanted to go with a really vibrant orange and yellow scheme on them so they stood out, and since I was going with orange, that meant doing a base coat in magenta. Now, if that seems weird to you, you have some older Goobertown Hobbies videos to catch up on, because you will find that if you want to get a really vibrant orange, the best way you can do that is by undercoating your yellow with magenta or pink. It just works super well. And I only did this on the underside so that once I came and covered everything with yellow, the shadows were a deep, rich orange and the highlights were a bright yellow. I couldn't dedicate too much time to details on these, but I did take them back to the table, gave them a bit of a dry brushing with gunmetal, and then I very quickly used some white to just break out some of the panels, like half of the face and like some knee pads and elbow pads and that sort of thing. I blacked out the bases and then just colored them with some pigment powders. This was a quick way to get color on the bases, but also add some dusty effect, kind of like an alien planet's landscape. And then I just stippled over the models with a little bit more gunmetal to make them look chipped up and a little bit battle worn. And then I had to deal with the sword on one of them, and I didn't really want to just paint it gunmetal or silver. Like, I wanted it to be like some kind of glowing power sword or some kind of hot plasma thing that could melt through other mechs. Now, I've actually never painted any kind of like power weapons like this before. It's not usually my jam, and now is not a good time to try to learn. So I kind of just winged it and messed around and got a result that wasn't very good, but was totally fine for my purposes here. And with that, like, these 4 little bad boys were done. I spent 3, maybe close to 4 hours from picking bits out of boxes to having them finished and painted. And considering that, I think they're awesome. And in my mind, sometimes like the gaming pieces that we make that are the best are the ones that we make in a pinch to play some games. While they might be limited in how much time we put into them, because we're making it for a specific task that was immediate and exciting, it means you put in a lot of love. And I think sometimes that sort of excitement and love and passion on a build far outweighs talent and time. Or at least that's what I like to tell myself. I did make it to the event in Calgary safely, and there was a fantastic Flames of Orion campaign tournament going on. There was a spot open for me to play in, but it was like a 6-hour thing, and I was really there to do a job and do my own thing, so I couldn't jump in. Thankfully, I was at least smart enough to take some film of the cool terrain that was built for it. I really love these quick circuit board buildings. They are the perfect look for this scale. If I was a much smarter man, I would have taken the time to unpack my mechs and put them in this setting to take some glamour shots, but I didn't, man. I was overwhelmed. I was having a really good time, and I honestly just didn't break out the camera very much. So these mechs got finished, packed up, traveled to Calgary, and then back home and unpacked, unused. But I am totally okay with that. I'm not upset at all. I'm still glad I made these, even though I didn't end up using them, because it's always fun to put a little bit of pressure on yourself and make something, and, you know, with the intention of gaming. And even though I didn't game, I had such a wonderful weekend. There was nothing lost here. So if nothing else, I hope this video inspires you to, I don't know, maybe jump into the idea of playing a game even if you don't have time to prepare for it, because you can do some really great stuff in a very short period of time. If you like this video, hit the like button, leave me some comments in the description, share it with your friends. The channel could really use your support right now, and there's a couple really great ways you can do that. One is doing your Amazon shopping on my essential equipment page so the channel can get a small kickback. You can do that at blackmagicraft.ca. You can also do that by buying some of my merch on the website or my old builds. And last, by supporting the channel on Patreon. The funds donated there by awesome viewers like you are the reason I can keep doing these videos several years into this crazy idea of making a hobby YouTube channel. That's it for this one, everyone. I will see you next time. In the meantime, you go and build something fun and cool. Peace.